Welcome people. It's your boy Q from quedupproductions. And today's tutorial is going to be, actually it's a series. I want to run a series of just kind of going over the Waves plugins that I like to use. They run sales all the time. They're pretty cheap and they are great, for the things that I like to do with them. So I just decided I would do a series and, kind of go over the reasons why I like them. All right, so the first one that we're talking about is the Abbey Road vinyl. I've had this plugin for quite a while, and I actually was considering buying the RC20, which I probably still will get, but there's a lot of good things that you can get out of this plugin. So just to kind of go from left to right, just to kind of describe some of the controls that they have already. This 2 desk button, it kind of gives you a little bit of a slight change in sound, but really nothing too out of the ordinary. And I'm just going to speak in pretty much layman's terms. I'm not going to go into what the old decks could do and couldn't do and all that good stuff. You can change the generation, or so to speak, of what type of tape that they used back then, whether it was lacquer and then kind of some other ways that they printed. And it gives you a nice little display up top there just to, give you a visual for some eye candy, I guess. And then you can switch between the turntables and get a different feel there. I'll talk a little bit about what you can do with those turntables later. And then it has these different types of cartridges that you can add. If you look, the cartridges is what goes at the tip of the arm. That's where your needle goes. And you can change different cartridges to get a different sound. And then you have your noise knob. These are your usual suspects over here. You got your noise knob, your crackle, density, which is kind of just the harshness of the clicks, and really the harshness of this click button right here. Not so much as the crackle, but these clicks here. And you'll get a chance to hear it a little bit. Sometimes it can get a little bit overbearing and get annoying. So just kind of watch how much you add, listen to it. And one of the big things that I suggest is to play with these knobs and get them, where you think you might want them, and don't play anything. Leave all of your tracks silent. Just let it sit there. And then once you dial these things in, depending on where you put it on your bus, really, it kind of doesn't make any difference. You're going to hear the sound that this is generating constantly in the background. So it's going to give you the low tape hiss. It's going to give you the crackle. It's going to give you the noise. All the normal things that would come with an old style turntable. Over here would be your input and your drive knobs. For the most part, you might want to just leave these at 0 and kind of don't touch them unless you really want to drive into the unit. And that will definitely color the sound a little bit more. Then you have your depth and the depth of your flutter and your wow. That's pretty much where, the goodness goes right there. It's trying to tweak those in and get the right amount of old flavor that you're looking for. And then over here, this is your arm. If you pay attention to that arm up there, it's just going to move that left and right, depending on where you like the sound. And then you can actually change the phase distortion, and then you can add a little bit of modulation as well. It has these things in here where you can check it in left, right, mono, and you can check it in stereo. I usually just leave it in stereo. I use it more as an effect, more so than trying to go in and do any type of mastering or anything like that with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of it. So I have this old lo-fi song that I've been working on and just kind of tweaking and playing with it, and I'll let you hear pretty much what I got going on. Okay, so you get the gist of that. So now let's add a little bit of this, the sauce, as they say. So I have the Abbey Road vinyl in a couple different places. One of them I have it on a bus that I use strictly for effects, and I'll have a group of channels run through those, whether it's all instruments or all synths. It just depends on what the genre is. I run it through those, and for this particular lo-fi type of feel, I threw on the Abbey Road. So this is what it sounds like, just throwing that on there. And I believe um, I have the synths as well as the drums going through there. So let's listen to that. And if you listen real close without anything playing, you can kind of hear a slight hiss and, you know, a couple pops. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of crunch, and I think I'm going to turn this up just a tad bit. I wouldn't normally do this, but, you know, we'll give it just a little bit more boost, just so you can hear that a little bit better. Okay, so that's one spot that I have it, and then I went, and anything that's not going to any type of effects, then I come over here and I add it onto another bus that bypasses really all of these effects. If I just wanted to go through and go straight to my submix, then on this one I have some things dialed in, a little bit of a wow, but nothing too much. But I'll let you hear pretty much what that does in a minute. So basically any other instrument that's not going through any of the special effects is going through that bus to kind of get some treatment, you know, maybe not as harsh a treatment as the other ones will get. Okay, and then coming over here was one other spot, which is my actual lo-fi piano. So I'm going to play just this by itself. As soon as I do this, okay, so that's a lot of heavy saturation. I got some depth going on. I got some of the wow going. And if I dial these back, or I just turn this off, then really all you have is what's going through this bus. And if I turn that off, and really all you're hearing there is just from the kick and the side chain. But I like that grit and just that distortion. Okay, so that's it for the first plugin in the series, the Abbey Road vinyl. I think I picked this plugin up for, I think it was 29 bucks. They run deals, like I said, all the time, every week. And no, Waves is not paying me for anything that I'm doing. I just figured I'd share to let you guys know some of the things that I use and how I use them. So it is a nice alternative to some other distortion type of plugins that you have out there, or that vinyl sound, which is, you know, coming back pretty heavily. But just one you might want to check out. It's a little bit cheaper, and, you know, it gets the job done if you play with it and figure out how it works. But anyway, that's my time. Hope this video was helpful for someone out there. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notifications button so you stay up to date on all my latest content. And most of all, stay queued up. Peace.